Hello everyone, this side Dr.G, and today we are going to discuss about the placenta, the formation, functions and anomalies. So let's start. Now, the fate of the chorionic villi. Now before that, let us just understand what we have discussed previously. You already know, we have the amniotic cavity, right? We have this amniotic cavity. We have this epiblastic cells, right? This epiblastic cells are there. Then amniogenic cells are there. And in between we have this amniotic cavity. Now, we already know that we have the hypoplastic cells, right? We have the hypoplastic cells and we have the Husser's membrane, right? We have the Husser's membrane and ultimately we have the yolk sac in between. Apart from that, you already know we have this outermost covering over here. Yes, this is the trophoblast, right? This is the trophoblast. Now, this trophoblast, it is actually the outer cell mass, right? Outer cell mass, okay, after implantation, it is called as the trophoblast. Now, trophoblast is divided into, right, two layers, right? It is divided into this cytotrophoblast, which I am like drawing, right? This is the cytotrophoblast, and this trophoblast has the outermost layer, right, where the nucleus is absent, and you know this outermost layer where the nucleus is absent, it is called as the Syncytiotrophoblast, right? It is the Syncytiotrophoblast. It is like present all around. I'm just showing you a portion right now. Yes. So this is the Cytotrophoblast, right? The trophoblast which has the plasma membrane. The one which does not have the plasma membrane, okay, only nucleus is present. Syncytium, only nucleus, right? So it is called as the Syncytiotrophoblast. It is called as the Syncytiotrophoblast, right? Only nucleus is present. So I can show you the nucleus over here, right, with the red color. So it is only the syncytium which is present over here. So this is the nucleus, right? So that is the basic structure that you already know. And inside it, yes, I'll use the another color. You already know inside the cytotrophoblast, what is there? It is the extra embryonic mesoderm, right? Which is coming from the wall of the yolk sac, right? This is the extra embryonic mesoderm. This is the extra embryonic mesoderm, right? So remember, this is the extra embryonic mesoderm. Right. Now, let me take a portion out of this. Let us suppose I am taking this particular portion out, right? And we will view this portion over here. I am taking the small portion out and now we will try to see this portion. So, you already know we have this cytotrophoblast, right? We have this cytotrophoblast. Yes, the cytotrophoblast is this particular layer, right? This is the cytotrophoblast, right? Now, this cytotrophoblast के अंदर क्या है? What is inner to cytotrophoblast? We have this, yes, mesoderm. And which mesoderm it is? It is the extra embryonic mesoderm, right? We have this extra embryonic mesoderm which is present, right? So let us just label side by side so that it is easier for you people to later on remember. So remember, this is the cytotrophoblast, right? inner we have this, yes, extra embryonic mesoderm. As you can see, extra embryonic mesoderm. Follow the same color code, students, right? Follow the same color code so that it's easier for you to understand the structures. Now, we have outside the cytotrophoblast, what we have just next to cytotrophoblast, we have the syncytiotrophoblast, right? We have the syncytiotrophoblast, you can see. Yes, this is the, let us suppose this is the syncytiotrophoblast. Yes, this is the syncytiotrophoblast. And this syncytiotrophoblast, it is containing this nucleus is there, right? So you already know this is the syncytiotrophoblast. Trophoblast, right? Now this syncytiotrophoblast, right? This syncytiotrophoblast, it is containing, okay, the syncytium, the nucleus is present. The both are like trophoblast. These are both derivatives of trophoblast only. Now what is the difference over here? Cytotrophoblast की cell membrane present होती है. Syncytiotrophoblast does not have any cell membrane. It is only the nucleus which is present. And in the syncytiotrophoblast, you will encounter the presence of lacunae, or there will be, remember, there will be formation of lacunae, right? There will be formation of these lacunae. So you can mention over here, it is the formation of lacunae. And you already know outside the syncytiotrophoblast, you, that I'm drawing with the blue color, and you already know it is outside. What is present? It is the endometrium. It is the endometrium, right? So this is something you can draw over here also कि बाहर की तरफ क्या है, पूरा बाहर की तरफ क्या है, endometrium है. So let me just draw for you. Yeah. So this structure which I am drawing right now, it is the endometrium or the decidua. Blastocyst after implantation, it is called as the decidua, right? So blastocyst after implant, repeating the last line, repeat. Blastocyst after implantation, the endometrium will be now called as the decidua, right? So this is the decidua which you can see over here, right? This is the decidua. Let me just mark it. Yeah, this is the endometrium, or I can simply say it as the decidua, right? Endometrium after implantation, or yes, it is the decidua, right? Now this decidua or endometrium will contain blood vessels, right? It will contain blood vessels, and these blood vessels, right? These blood vessels, you can see that I'm marking with red color. I'm just trying to show it with red color. Yeah, this is called as the maternal blood vessels, right? एंडोमेट्रियम के अंदर कौन सी ब्लड वेसल्स होंगी? आर्टरीज होंगी, यूट्राइन आर्टरी, और यूट्राइन आर्टरी, यूट्रस इज पार्ट ऑफ द मदर ओनली. So this is called as the uterine artery, and this is nothing but the maternal blood vessels, right? Maternal blood vessels, uterine blood vessels, the maternal blood vessels. I hope till now it is clear to everyone. Yes, these are the uterine artery branches that you can see over here, right? Now, coming on to the fate of chorionic villi. Now, what it is actually this chorionic villi? What is this chorionic villi? Now, what will happen? These cytotrophoblast, right? We have this in black layer. So let us just try to draw the diagram again and try to understand what is happening. Now, this cytotrophoblast that I have drawn with black color will have finger-like projections, okay? which is invading the Syncytiotrophoblast. So let me just draw it. So let us suppose this is the Cytotrophoblast and it is having this finger-like projections, which you can see over here. This is called as the, yes, this is called as the villi, and this is called as primary chorionic villi. Now it is coming from the Cytotrophoblast, and these are the finger-like projections which you can see coming out, or the extensions coming out from the Cytotrophoblast, right? So yes, you can draw more as per your convenience, right? So yes. So remember, the other things will remain the same. So this is the Cytotrophoblast, and you already know this is one which is referred to as the primary chorionic villi. Primary chorionic villi, right? This is the primary chorionic villi, and it is again in the layer of, yes, the Syncytiotrophoblast, right? The Syncytiotrophoblast is present. So yes, what this Cytotrophoblast is doing, it is giving finger-like projections, the villi-like projections into the Syncytiotrophoblast, right? It is giving finger or villi-like projections into the Syncytiotrophoblast, yes. And you already know the Syncytiotrophoblast already contains the lacunae, right? It already contains the lacunae. So this is the lacunae, right? This is the lacunae, and yes, we have this layer. It is the Syncytiotrophoblast, right? Trophoblast. The other layers will like remain the same. The other layers will remain the same. For example, like, yeah, we have drawn the extra embryonic mesoderm in the green color. It will like remain the same. You can just draw it, and on the top with the blue color, we have the uterine. Yes, on the top we have this endometrium or the decidua which is present, right? The same diagram, what is happening over here? Just the finger-like projections, they are invading into it. So yes, this is called as the primary chorionic villi. Now the question comes, primary chorionic villi. Now primary chorionic villi, basically they are extensions of cytotrophoblastic cells, right? Now primary chorionic villi. So let us just write it. They are, yes, they are extensions of cytotrophoblast into Syncytiotrophoblast. Right? So yes, if I ask you primary chorionic villi, it is made up of primary chorionic villi. It is made up of only cytotrophoblast. Cytotrophoblast. So that is one again question. Primary chorionic villi, it is made up of cytotrophoblast. Now, what will happen next? Let us just try to draw what will again happen next. I'm drawing on the next slide, but you will continue in the same fashion that I'm drawing right now. Right now, what will happen next? You already know. Yes, we have the cytotrophoblastic cells, right? Now let us draw these cytotrophoblastic cells in the form of a line right now, right? Now these are having these, yes, extensions, right? These are having these extensions, and this is called as the primary villi. Now in this primary villi, what will happen? In this primary villi, what will happen? The extra embryonic mesoderm will come and invade into this chorionic villi, right? You already know कि अंदर की तरफ ये जो green से आप लोग देख रहे हो, what is this green? It is the extra embryonic mesoderm, right? ये extra embryonic mesoderm है, आपको diagram में पहले भी बताया था मैंने, right? Now what it will do, it will try to enter this chorionic villi, right? So let us just draw this. Yeah, so yes, it will try to enter this chorionic villi, and you can see over here it is like this. So primary chorionic villi plus this extra embryonic mesoderm will be now called as the secondary chorionic villi. It will be now called as the secondary chorionic villi, right? It will be now called as the secondary chorionic villi. Other structures will remain the same. So yes, please try to draw each and every structure. It is like very important. So remember, this is called as the secondary chorionic villi. And if I ask you secondary chorionic villi, और ये क्या है actual में? You already know this is the cytotrophoblast, right? And this is the extra embryonic mesoderm. Extra embryonic mesoderm. Now, secondary chorionic villi will be, if I ask you, it is made up from two things. It is made up of two things. We have the cytotrophoblast, and we have the extra embryonic mesoderm. This is called as secondary chorionic villi. Other structures, again, it will remain the same. You already know we have the Syncytiotrophoblast, we have the Syncytiotrophoblast over here, right? We have the Syncytiotrophoblast, right, which is having the presence of the lacunae, right? Which is having the presence of lacunae. Okay, this is the, so yes, just for your reference, I'm like labeling it again. So yes, this is the Syncytiotrophoblast, and you already know the Syncytiotrophoblast will contain the lacunae, right? It will contain the lacunae. This is the lacunae, right? And outside the Syncytiotrophoblast, what is present? It is the uterine endometrium or the decidua. Uterine endometrium or the decidua, right? So we have the uterine endometrium or the decidua. So yes, this is the uterine endometrium, which is carrying the maternal arteries or the uterine arteries, right? So this is the uterine endometrium or decidua, right? Better to call it as decidua because after implantation it is given a special name that is called as the decidua. So that is how the secondary chorionic villi is formed. So we have seen the villi formation, the primary villi and the secondary villi. I hope this is clear to everyone. So yes, we have seen the secondary chorionic villi formation and the primary chorionic villi formation, right? How they are formed. Now coming on to the tertiary villi. Now coming on to the tertiary villi. Now how this tertiary villi is formed? Let us just draw this diagram again. Yeah. Let us just try to understand what will happen next. Right? What will happen next? Now what will happen? You already know this is the cytotrophoblast, which I am just drawing with the help of a single line, right? This is the cytotrophoblast. Now this cytotrophoblast, it is having invagination of the extra embryonic mesoderm, right? It is having invaginations, right, from the extra embryonic mesoderm. So yes, you can see over here, this is the extra embryonic mesoderm. Now, what will happen over here? The fetal blood capillaries will also invade this cytotrophoblast or the chorionic villi. Now, over here you can see that if suppose this is the fetal, yes, this is the fetal capillaries, fetal blood vessels, I can say, fetal blood vessels, right? So this is nothing but the fetal blood vessels, fetal blood arteries and veins. Now they will try to incorporate into this finger-like projections. Now in total, this whole structure, which I'm just marking right now, this is called as the tertiary villi. It is called as the tertiary chorionic villi. Tertiary chorionic villi. And it is formed from, you can see we have the, yes, what is this? This is the cytotrophoblast. Cytotrophoblast. We have this green color, that is the extra embryonic mesoderm, and the fetal blood vessels. So tertiary chorionic villi, it is formed from cytotrophoblast, extra embryonic mesoderm, and we have fetal blood vessels. The other things will remain as it is. Right? So let us just highlight the other things as well. So we have the Syncytiotrophoblast that I am highlighting in the yellow color, with the yellow color, right? So yes, this is the Syncytiotrophoblast, and this Syncytiotrophoblast has the lacunas which are there, right? We have these lacunas. So remember, this is the Syncytiotrophoblast, one without the cell membrane, only nucleus is present, only syncytium is there, right? And the other one on the top, you already know we have this, yes, the uterine endometrium or the decidua. Uterine endometrium or the decidua. So this was in nutshell about the primary, secondary and the tertiary villi, right? This was in nutshell about the primary, secondary and the tertiary villi, right? Now, so that was about the fate of the chorionic villi. But now let us suppose this is the embryonic plate, right? This is the embryonic plate. Right. So you already know we have the amniotic cavity, the yolk sac, and on the outer side we have this like the extra embryonic mesoderm. So you already know we have this trophoblastic layer which has this, yes, this villi. This is called as the primary chorionic villi, right? This is called as the primary chorionic villi, right? Primary chorionic villi. Now, you already know the primary chorionic villi and the secondary chorionic villi will develop all around the embryo, right? It will develop all around the embryo because in the initial stages, what is required? Yeah, it is through the lacunas, the blood is, means the transport is taking place. But the tertiary villi, okay, it will only develop at the region of this connecting stalk. Right? And this tertiary villi, or yeah, the chorionic villi which is developing over here, it is the tertiary chorionic villi, which will form the placenta later, right? So this part which will like form the placenta later, it is called as chorionic frondosum, and the other part, okay, the other chorionic villi, they are called as chorionic levae. Okay, the chorionic levae. Why levae, beta? Chorionic villi, they will shed off, right? They are not required as of now because up जो है the nutrition it will transform like it will transfer from this connecting stalk. The rest chorionic villi will shed off, and that is called as chorionic levae, right? And the chorionic frontosome is the one which will now be the site where the tertiary chorionic villi is there, which will form the placenta. Now coming on to the placenta formation. How placenta is formed? Now you already know we have the cytotrophoblast, right? We have this cytotrophoblast, right? Now this cytotrophoblast, it is having villi, right? That is called as the chorionic villi, right? Now this chorionic villi will now have some branches, right? It will have some branches, right? Earlier it was a single branch, right? Now it will have some more branches. It will have some more branches. Yeah. Now this is, now let us label side by side. This is, you already know, this is the cytotrophoblast. This is the cytotrophoblast, right? Now this cytotrophoblast, it is containing these villi, right? These extensions, okay, into the syncytiotrophoblast. Now they will have branches over here. They will have branches over here. Yeah. So try to draw these branches very nicely as I am drawing with you people. Now, the main branch, okay, the main stem, okay, this is the main stem. This is called as the stem villi, right? This is called as, or I can just write it over here. This is called as the stem villi, okay, or it is also called as the truncus cori. It is also called as the truncus cori, right? Now, this stem villi is branching into different branches, like the primary branches, right? The primary branches. If I just try to show you over here, this will be again the same structure, right? This is called as, yeah, the primary, or I can say the primary branches. This is called as the ramus cori. Okay, this is called as the ramus cori, right? This is called as the ramus cori. Now this ramus cori will further branch, right? It will also further branch, okay? It will also further branch, and this structure, it is called as the remuli cori, okay? It is called as the remuli cori, right? This is called as the remuli cori. So yes, this is something that you have to remember. Yes, let us just try to complete this. Now, this is the basic structure, right? And you already know inside it, we all have this, yeah, we all have this extra embryonic mesoderm, right? We all have this extra embryonic mesoderm. Just try to highlight and make the structure as it is. Yeah. So वो तो कहीं नहीं जाएगा, it will be present over here only, right? So there will be extra embryonic mesoderm. Yes. Just try to highlight. Yeah. So this is the extra embryonic mesoderm which is invaginating into this, right? So remember, this is the extra embryonic mesoderm. Extra embryonic mesoderm. Now, on the other hand, you already know we have, okay, let us just draw this accurately at one size, right? So yeah, just draw it like a little bigger, otherwise it's all correct. Yeah. So yeah, just to make it symmetrical, yeah, just draw it like this. Now, You already know these are invaginations into the Syncytiotrophoblast, right? These are invaginations into the Syncytiotrophoblast, and yes, you can all like circle this Syncytiotrophoblast over here, right? So yes, this is the Syncytiotrophoblast. This is the Syncytiotrophoblast, which is containing the lacunae and everything, right? It is containing the lacunae and everything. So let me, the lacunae will also increase in size, right? So let me just mark this. This is the Syncytotrophoblast, and this Syncytotrophoblast will contain the large lacunae, right? It will also contain this large lacunae, right? This one. This is the lacuna. Now, on the top, you already know we have this endometrium, right? We have this endometrium on the top. Outside, right? Outside, we have this endometrium. And this endometrium, it is, yes, this is the endometrium, or the decidua, we can say. And this endometrium, okay, this endometrium, yeah, it is containing the, what we say, the uterine vessels, right? The uterine arteries, and uterine veins, which will be there over here, right? The uterine veins and the uterine arteries will be there, right? We have these uterine vessels, right? And there will be formation of a septate over here, right? This endometrium will form a septate over here. Yeah, I mean this cytotrophoblastic cells, right? In between the endometrium and the syncytotrophoblast, right? There will be a septate, and this is called as the, this is like a sheet, repeating the last 2 points. Now, it will form a septate, a sheet like structure basically. This sheet or this shell, it is called as the cytotrophoblastic shell. Cytotrophoblastic shell, right? This is called as the cytotrophoblastic shell, right? So, so now, now coming on to the last diagram that we have to draw over here in this case. Now, this cytotrophoblastic cell. Now, what this endometrium will do, it will try to break the cytotrophoblastic cell shell at certain points, right? At certain points, and that is, it will create endometrial septum in between. It will try to create the endometrial septum in between. Now let us just draw this. Let us just draw this. You can see this cytotrophoblastic cell will be broken down in between, and yes, this will be the structure that it will create, right? And remember, this is called as the endometrial septate. Endometrial septate, right? This is called as the endometrial septate. Let us just try to draw this. Let us just try to draw all the structures now in a nutshell, what we are getting. So you already know the cytotrophoblastic shell, okay, will be broken down by the endometrium. Okay, it will be broken down by the endometrium, right? It will be broken down by the endometrium. Continue. So yeah, this is the trophoblastic, continue, repeat. So this is the cytotrophoblastic shell. The endometrial septates are there, right? So this is the, like, let me mark it over here. This is the endometrial septate, right? Endometrial septate, right? Now You already know inside we have this cytotrophoblast, right, which is giving the chorionic villi, and it is having certain branches, right. These branches you already know, right. So yes, these branches I have already discussed in detail, right. So this is how the structure goes on. This is the cytotrophoblast, right? It is invaginating into the syncytiotrophoblast. Let me just try to highlight the syncytiotrophoblast as well. I'm just highlighting only one side. Please try to highlight everywhere, right? So this is the syncytiotrophoblast, right? This is the Syncytiotrophoblast, right? And it is containing these lacunas, right? It is containing these lacunas. Now, later on, what will happen? These septas, these endometrial septas, will lead to the formation of something which is called as cotyledon. It is called as cotyledon, right? It is called as cotyledon. Now, the intervillous space. Now, there are two villi. This is the first villi and this is the second villi, right? So, in between the villi, what is called it as? The intervillous space. So, this intervillous space will be filled with blood. Okay, it will be filled with blood. Okay, it will be filled with blood, right. And yeah, you already know the endometrium, right, the endometrium, which let me just try to draw it. Yeah, the endometrium over here. Yes, this is the endometrium, which is like invading. So this endometrium will contain, yes, it will contain the blood vessels, right. So what will happen, we have the endometrial arteries and veins which will go inside, right. We have this endometrial artery and we have correspondingly the endometrial vein which will go inside like this, right. So this is the endometrial artery and the vein. Endometrial artery and vein, right. So yes, now below you already know we have, yeah, below you already know, yeah, below you already know we have this extraembryonic mesoderm. Now this extraembryonic mesoderm, okay, this extraembryonic mesoderm, yes, what will be, it will yeah, the umbilical cord will be formed then, right, the umbilical cord will be formed. We have this umbilical cord, right, or it is also called as the connecting stalk, which is no actually connecting the embryo through a plate. So yes, it is the umbilical cord, or I can simply say it as the connecting stalk. Connecting stalk. Now, umbilical cord, you already know what does it contains. It contains the, yes, just try to draw it, everyone, that it contains this uterine artery, right. Sorry, this is the uterine vein. I'm drawing it with red color again to indicate that it will carry the oxygenated blood. So uterine vein will be there, right. This is the uterine vein. Repeating the last point again. Repeating the last 2 points again. Repeat last 2 points again. So you already know the umbilical cord will contain the umbilical artery and the umbilical vein, and you already know one of the umbilical vein will disappear, that is the right umbilical vein will disappear and only the left umbilical vein will be there. So left umbilical vein, I'm drawing it with red color because you already know the umbilical vein will carry which blood? That is the oxygenated blood, right? It will carry the oxygenated blood. Okay, it will go inside and it will go inside this primary chorionic villi, the truncus, ramus, cori and everything. And yes, over here, what will happen next? The blood will get exchanged or blood will come into the intervillous space, right? And this is how the exchange will happen. This is the umbilical vein. Remember, this is the umbilical vein. And which umbilical vein? It is the left umbilical vein. कैसे याद रखना है? Left umbilical vein is left behind, right? And we will have the two umbilical arteries that I will be drawing with the blue color. Yes, umbilical arteries, right? We have these two umbilical arteries, right? So yes, we have this umbilical arteries also. You can just draw this. So we have these two umbilical arteries, right? So that is about, in nutshell, about the structure of the placenta. Structure about the placenta. Now, you already know, coming on to the placental membrane now, coming on to the placental membrane. So you are very well aware with the fact that we have the cytotrophoblast, right? We have the cytotrophoblast. So let us just try to learn the structures also over here. Yes. So you already know that this is the cytotrophoblast that I am drawing, right? This is the cytotrophoblast. Cytotrophoblast, right? This is the cytotrophoblast. You can draw one more for your reference, right? Now, this cytotrophoblast contains the, these are the primary villi, which you can see over here, right? This you can see the primary villi over here, right? Now, this cytotrophoblast will contain this extra embryonic mesoderm, right? It will contain this extra embryonic mesoderm. We'll just try to mark the structures first and then we'll see how easy it is to learn, right? So this is the extra embryonic mesoderm. And this extra embryonic mesoderm, basically it contains the fetal capillaries, right? It contains the fetal capillaries, right? So remember, these are the fetal blood vessels, fetal blood capillaries, right? Fetal blood capillaries. And outside, what we have? Outside, you already know, we have the Syncytiotrophoblast, right? We have the Syncytiotrophoblast, which is present. Yes, this is the Syncytiotrophoblast. And outside the Syncytiotrophoblast, we have the uterine endometrium, right? We have this uterine endometrium, right? Just try to mark this. This is the uterine endometrium, right? Now the placental membrane, it is formed from Syncytiotrophoblast, right? I'm going from outside to inside, right? So yes, we have the Syncytiotrophoblast. Then we have Cytotrophoblast. Then we have the basement membrane of the Cytotrophoblast. The basement membrane of the Cytotrophoblast. Extra embryonic mesoderm, right? Extra embryonic mesoderm. Then we have endothelium. endothelium and basement membrane of fetal blood capillaries. Endothelium and basement membrane of fetal blood capillaries. Fetal blood capillaries, right? So, yeah. Now, the placental membrane is very thin, so that eventually more nutrition can go. So it becomes thinner and thinner, so that more exchange can take place, right? So now there are certain factors on which which is responsible for the thinning of the placental membrane. So write it down. There are certain factors responsible for thinning of placental membrane. Now, what are those factors which are responsible? The very first one, it is the Syncytotrophoblast, which becomes the thin, the outermost layer. Okay, it is the Syncytotrophoblast, right? It is the Syncytotrophoblast that becomes thin. Apart from that, remember the cytotrophoblast, it disappears, right? It disappears later on. It the cytotrophoblast, it disappears. Okay, the basement membrane also disappears. The basement membrane also disappears. Okay, and endothelial cells of the fetal capillaries, they also become thin. Endothelial cells of fetal capillaries, they also become thin. Right, so these are the factors which are responsible for the thinning of the placental membrane. Now, coming on to the placenta at term, so remember, the human placenta, it is described by three terms, right? The human placenta, the human placenta, it is described by three terms. Now, what are those? The first one, it is discoid. It is discoid. Now, when I say discoid, it means disc-like shape, right? It is disc-like in shape. Apart from that, it is deciduate. Okay, it is deciduate. So remember, deciduate means shed off after delivery. So it shed off after delivery, right? And they are hemochorial, right? Hemochorial, it simply means that it lies in contact with the maternal blood, right? It lies in contact with the maternal blood. Now, the weight of the placenta at term, so write down, yeah, the weight of the placenta, weight of the placenta at term, at full term pregnancy, it is 500 grams, right? It is 500 grams. Now, the ratio of weight of placenta to fetus, Now, at full term pregnancy, if I suppose the weight of the fetus, it is nearly about 3 kgs, the average weight of a normal fetus, it is about 2.8 kgs. So, if I take the ratio of the weight of placenta to fetus, it is approximately 1:6. If it is 3 kgs and if it is 500 grams, right? So, it will be 1:6, right? Now, there was a question which was, repeat. Now, there was a question which was asked, when is the weight of the placenta equal to the weight of fetus? So, write down, weight of placenta is equal to the weight of the fetus. It is around 17 weeks of pregnancy. It is around 17 weeks of pregnancy, right? It is around 17 weeks of pregnancy. And one more thing that you have to remember, we have one cells present in placenta that is called as Hofweber cells, right? These are Hofweber cells. These are actually the macrophages. These are actually the macrophages, and these Hofweber cells, they are present in placenta, or I can simply say they are the histological characteristic of placenta, right? So they are present in placenta, and this is referred to as the histological characteristic of placenta. It is not seen anywhere else. These cells are like limited to placenta only. So these are histological characteristic of placenta. So that is about the placenta at term. That is about the placenta at term.